How's it going, y'all? I recently was asked how people end up in homeless situations. Let's start off with life happens. Life happens to a lot of people that are living paycheck to paycheck. Not everybody that is homeless is addicted to drugs. And this goes directly against what many people who have never suffered homelessness believe. And even if some of the people who ended up homeless did partake in drugs, I would have to say that I believe a good deal of the time that's still not what caused them to end up being homeless. Here's a few examples that I can give you from talking to other people. In one instance, a landlord insisted that a tenant who pays their own electric bill leave their porch light on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And they got into a verbal altercation about this, and the landlord stomped off like a child. Next thing you know, the tenant was evicted. In another instance, a woman's landlord sold the property after making a verbal agreement with her that she could pay her rent by making repairs to the apartment, putting up drywall, painting, and so on and so forth. The new landlord apparently didn't know this. The tenant never received notification that the landlord had sold the property, and then also did not receive her 3-day eviction notice until she received her summons for her eviction. In another instance, a man came home, found his wife in bed with another man, attempted suicide, ended up in a nursing home, and when he got out of the nursing home, no longer had a place to live. And my story is so overly complicated. I'll share that with you all in another video. There's no one way that people end up homeless. I will say this. When we do end up homeless, it's very difficult to come up out of it and stay out of it. There are circumstances where a person like myself once never had a trouble getting a job in any way, shape, or form. It is becoming more and more difficult to acquire employment, especially now that my industry is practically shut down. I'm predominantly a restaurant worker, and I really loved being a server / waitress, which is what I learned to do at my last job. I've been known to do other types of work, retail, warehouse. I'm really not limited. I just love to work, you know? But I used to be able to go into an interview and bag any job. And I'd have to say within the last 2 years, I've discovered that that's no longer the case. Maybe I'm getting too old. Maybe trauma caused me to have a lack of confidence. I'm not sure. But now that I've gained it back, now what is it? Even when I make callbacks and try to reach employers, I find it difficult to even acquire an interview, let alone get an interview to get a job. Any suggestions anyone might make to help me overcome that obstacle, I'm open. I'm open to hearing them. Um, Another thing, there's a lot of people out there on the streets who are addicted and or have mental illnesses. And they don't have anyone to advocate for them. And they don't have anyone to give them a place to stay until they can get on their feet or figure things out. Just judgment. People with mental illnesses usually have behavior issues that aren't tolerated within the shelters and the organizations that are available to help people. People who are addicted to drugs, they're also turned away. What really bothers me about this is most of these organizations are ran by churches or Christian organizations. And they're supposedly upholding scripture to help people. But God does not help those who help themselves, nor does He ask us to do that. What He does say numerous times over is to help those who cannot help themselves, to help the widowed, to help the orphaned, to help those who do not know nor understand. Y'all think a person can just quit using drugs or stop being mentally ill to figure things out and stop being homeless? Do you know what it's like to try to focus on quitting doing those things or to become mentally well when you're in the middle of trying to figure out where you're going to sleep that night or where you're going to go to get out of the cold or the rain or the snow? It's just not easy. It's not simple at all. When you're hungry, it's easier to do some drugs. That'll either A, make you nod out and sleep so you don't have to think about it, or B, suppress the hunger so you don't have to feel it. You have to know it's just not as cut and dry as everybody seems to think it is. There are some good-hearted people out there who resort to stealing because they don't know any other way to make money. They don't want to hurt people. They just want to survive. It's just not as black and white as society seems to claim it is. That's all I got for y'all tonight. I hope I shed some light on some things for you.